The Galactic Council had never seen anything quite like Ambassador Zixthera. Her scales shimmered with iridescent purples and blues, each movement sending ripples of bioluminescent light across her serpentine form. As the Dragon Confederation's most decorated diplomat, she had negotiated peace treaties across 17 star systems and prevented 4 interstellar wars. Yet today, as her personal shuttle descended toward her estate on the diplomatic world of Concordia Prime, her mind wasn't on treaties or negotiations. It was on her garden, more specifically, on the human she had hired to tend it. Charles Bennett was an anomaly among the stars. While most humans served as soldiers, engineers, or traders across the galaxy, he had chosen the path of cultivation. The other species found it peculiar. Why would a member of the galaxy's most aggressive species spend his days nurturing plants? But Zixthera had seen something in his application that others missed: a deep understanding of growth, patience, and the delicate balance between strength and gentleness. Her estate sprawled across 50 acres of crystalline gardens, where flora from 100 worlds grew in carefully maintained biomes. Charles had transformed it from a chaotic collection into a symphony of life. Zixthera found herself returning home more frequently than diplomatic duty required, drawn by something she couldn't quite name. As she approached the residential wing, she heard it, the sound that made her ancient heart skip. Laughter, her children's laughter. Zixthera's 3 hatchlings were her greatest joy and deepest worry. Vera, Kesh, and little Tormund had been born during the dark years of the Void War. Their father had fallen in battle, and she had raised them alone while maintaining her diplomatic career. They were wild things, full of fire and curiosity, and the nannies she hired never lasted more than a month. She rounded the corner to the garden's heart and stopped dead. Charles sat cross-legged on the grass, surrounded by her children, but they weren't just sitting. They were flying, or rather, attempting to. Vera, the eldest at barely 7 standard years, hovered 3 feet off the ground, her wings beating frantically. Kesh was gliding in wobbly circles, while Tormund bounced up and down like a cork on water. "Remember," Charles was saying, his voice calm and steady, "it's not about forcing your wings to carry you. It's about understanding the air, working with it, like the flowers understand the sun." "But I'm too heavy," Vyra complained, dropping to the ground with a thump. "Too heavy?" Charles chuckled. "Last month you told me you'd never grow flowers because your claws were too sharp." "What happened?" Vyra glanced at the small plot beside them, where delicate Terran roses bloomed in shades of red and gold. Her personal project. "I learned to be gentle." "Exactly. Now apply that same principle. Your wings are strong enough. You just need to trust them." He stood and walked to a nearby tree, plucking a seed pod. "Look at this. It weighs almost nothing, right? But inside is everything needed to grow a tree that could live 1,000 years. Potential isn't about size or weight. It's about understanding your nature." Zixthera felt her throat tighten. In all her centuries, no one had spoken to her children like this. Not with condescension or fear, but with genuine respect for who they were and who they could become. "Mom!" Tormund spotted her first, abandoning his flying practice to scramble toward her on all 4s. "Mr. Charles is teaching us philosophy flying." "Philosophy flying?" Zixthera arched her neck, one scaled brow rising. Charles stood, brushing grass from his pants. There was dirt under his fingernails and a smudge of pollen on his cheek. He looked utterly unremarkable by galactic standards. No scales, no enhanced abilities, no bioluminescence, just a human in gardening clothes. Yet her children looked at him like he hung the stars. "Ambassador," he said with a slight bow, "I hope you don't mind. The young ones found me grafting the celestial orchids and started asking questions. One thing led to another. Mr. Charles says humans learn to fly by watching birds." Kesh announced, landing with considerably more grace than his sister. And now they fly to other stars. Is it true, Mom? Vyra asked. Did humans really have no wings and no magic and just decided to fly anyway? Zixthara moved closer, her massive form casting shadows across the garden. She should have felt something, concern, perhaps, that her children were being taught by a human, a species barely 2 centuries into space travel. But watching Charles guide Tormund through a breathing exercise, showing him how to feel the air currents with outstretched wings, she felt something else entirely. Hope. It's true, she said softly. Humans didn't evolve to fly. They had to build their wings. That's so much cooler than just being born with them, Vyra said with the absolute certainty of youth. Charles caught Zixthara's eye and smiled, a small, knowing expression. I should get back to the orchids. Your mother probably has important diplomatic things to discuss that don't involve garden philosophy. Actually, Zixthara heard herself say, I was hoping you might join us for the evening meal. The children have been calmer since you arrived, happier. The words hung in the air like seed pods, full of unspoken meaning. Charles looked at her, really looked at her, with those strange human eyes that held depths she was only beginning to understand. I'd be honored, Ambassador. As he walked back toward the orchids, Tormund clutched at Zixthara's foreclaw. Mom, why did the other species laugh when you said you hired a human gardener? She looked down at her youngest, then at Charles's retreating form. The human who taught her children not just to fly, but to understand themselves, who transformed chaos into beauty through patience and care, who approached the universe not with the dragon's fire or the quantum lord's mathematics, but with dirt under his nails and seeds in his pockets. Because, Zixthara said, spreading her wings, they don't understand that the ones who tend gardens are often the ones who change worlds. That evening, as news feeds across the galaxy showed Ambassador Zixthara dining with a human, not as employer and employee, but as something else entirely, the other species finally began to understand what made humanity special. Not their weapons, or their stubbornness, or their technological progress. It was their ability to see potential in everything, to take the broken, the wild, the impossible, and gently, patiently help it grow. Even a diplomat's guarded heart.